Hello and welcome, you're gaming with me, Brothgar, and today I'm going to be reviewing the latest patch on Diablo 3 just to let you know if it is worth coming back to. Oh, what do we got here? Mobs! Mobs on top of mobs! I gotta kill everything. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Brothgar, come on. I mean, this is Act 3. Well, yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is. And I just returned to this game from not playing for a long time. And this recent patch 1.08 essentially just boosted the mobs in a couple of zones. I don't believe it affected Act 3. But, you know, for a long time, Act 3 was the place to be. I mean, that's where everybody was doing their farm and stuff. I mean, I was doing my farm and stuff there. But of course, back in my day, and quite frankly, it was really hard just to beat the game. So, I mean, what are you talking about doing Act 3 on Inferno? That was quite a major thing. Now, of course, since then, things have been boosted. I mean, I'm returned to the game, and I feel like I'm freaking a demigod or whatever. A couple $1,000,000, and I got some sweet gear that just smash stuff. I mean, Inferno's a joke at this point. The nice thing is we've got these monster levels now, which is really quite cool, and it's kind of added a whole nother layers of difficulty and whatnot to the game. Now, this latest patch, though, 1.08, upped all the mobs that you're gonna have in Act 1, 2, and 4. At least that's what I'm picking up from like YouTube's and all the other different information sources I got here. So I pretty much logged into the game and I teamed up with this person, just found him on Party Map, and I mean, check this out. This is Act 1 on Inferno Monster Difficulty 1. Now, it is to note that Monster Difficulty 0, essentially just the base, is not going to be any different. They didn't mess with that. But Monster Difficulty 1 through 10, they did boost the mobs. I mean, that's quite cool to me. And they also added some other different features. I mean, you can read through the patch notes yourself. I'm not going to go line by line here. That really encourage you to match up with other people and play the game, which for me is absolutely awesome. Because, I mean, let's face it, when you're grinding alone just to kind of get stronger so that you can continue to grind, it really loses my interest quick, which is essentially why I quit the game several months ago and just decided, you know, it's not really worth my time to play this game anymore. So, I mean, with this has come like a whole new layer of the game that wasn't here before. I mean, one, obviously, you've got more mobs here, and the other thing is that we have people to play with. I mean, you're encouraged. So, that's great. And one great thing about that is that there's always, like in this case, I came in and I'm kind of a newbie now in this higher difficulty of the game where people have been playing for a long time, and now, you know, you team up with somebody that has all these extra levels on top of you that's been playing a lot longer. I mean, this person's far more experienced than I am, and you know, they're gonna give you gear and whatnot. I mean, there's nice people out there. This person was very generous. They gave me some rings, they gave me some armors, I got some new shoulders out of this, and I mean, this is stuff that I worked really hard for back in the day, but you know, now to them it's cheap enough just to give away, or maybe it's not necessarily that cheap, they're just being really nice. So I gotta imagine the people that are loving this most are people like me that are coming back to the game and discovering that, you know, finally I get to play with somebody, and finally I can actually beat Inferno difficulty, and that there's more levels of difficulty after that. It isn't just like, okay, I beat the end boss and, you know, okay, that's it, right? For the 4th time. Not like we've done that before. But anyhow, yeah, it's one of those things where finally I get to get into the game and make some friends. Which is really cool, because that was definitely missing before. And I gotta imagine the people that are like multi-boxing this game are just on fire right now. They're probably just dying, making loads of drops and gold and whatnot. But, you know, that's not my cup of tea. Now, you have seen here, I'm showing you some different zones. This is pretty much just Act 1. We do get into Act 2 here, and you can just see the monster clusters that we end up running into. There are still dead zones that are in between that, so I suppose if you're working like faster boots, I'm not very fast, but or if you have dash or different skills that are going to move you through there, you're going to be able to plow through a whole lot of mob a lot faster, which is kind of cool because it does add this element to the game where, you know, you're going to be getting more out of the space that you are in the game, I should say. Out of the distance you have to run in the game, you're going to get a whole lot more mob kills, which is great. However, I would have liked to seen in this patch just like dungeons getting bigger, because quite frankly, this game to me still feels very small. I mean, you got the 4 acts, and then you got a couple of special zones. I mean, yeah, you could do some multiplayer like PvP stuff now, but ultimately the dungeons are the same size, which, I mean, if they're bigger, supposedly these are randomly generated maps, at least that's what I remember from back in the day. You know, why can't we make them bigger and be able to get longer runs out of the thing if you're not going to make new zones? Now, with the increase to the mob population in difficulties 1 through 10, one thing to note is that you have more mobs on the screen, which for the most part, when you're melee and you're in hand-to-hand combat, it doesn't make that much of a difference. You just kill a whole lot more stuff. But when it comes to having mobs that are ranged, you actually end up taking a lot more damage, so you got to be more careful. That does make 1 through 10 more difficult, not just in the fact that it's harder to kill a mob because they're stronger and they got more health and whatnot, that the fact that there's more mobs firing at you can add a level of difficulty that wasn't there before. A couple of great things about this game now is that, like, even in this zone where we got all these annoying little ghosts and whatnot, I mean, I could just go from like kill streak of 60 to kill streak of 50 to kill streak of like 70, and I mean, if you're moving fast enough through the game there, you might be able to just tie those together and really build up very large kill streaks, which before, I mean, there just wasn't enough mobs around to hit to kind of keep that kill streak going. So I mean, there adds like a whole new little challenge of who can get the biggest kill streak. And I mean, you got the Paragon levels, that adds a whole new aspect to the game as far as being able to grow your character beyond level 60, which is cool, and to me that is actually kind of new. And so if you're a player like me that kind of quit the game, you know, let's say 5 months ago or whatever, it's worth picking up the game again and playing for a little bit. I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to get a whole load more of hours, like you're going to get 100 more hours out of this game. You know, you might get 5, 10, 15. It all just depends on how much you get addicted to how they've tweaked the game, which is the real key element here. They've tweaked the game. They haven't really added more game. They've just kind of tweaked what is already existing and basically just cranked up the levels on everything, which is cool, and I fully support that. So thanks for watching. If you liked what you seen, leave a like on the way out. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'm Brothgar, and thanks for watching.